Hello, welcome to Skyline Meadow. It's April 15th and the weather liars are calling for it to be 65 and sunny today. So we're going to get out in the main garden and start prepping it for the spring. Just to give you a little background, we covered the main garden with, or half the main garden, I should say, with a silage tarp about 4 weeks ago. We are killing off our winter rye cover crop. So let's go out and pull the tarp back and see what we got. Okay, we got her opened up now, and just so you know, I did cut the camera off for a little bit. When I opened it up, there were some, what appeared probably on the camera to be yellow, stringy looking vines. What they were daffodils. Now, just to give you a little background on that, when we moved up here 2 years ago, the previous owner, or someone before them probably, had planted daffodils in the backyard. There was a strip of them running about 3 feet wide and about 30 feet long, right where I wanted to put the garden. They have been the bane of my existence. I have worked for 2 years to try to get rid of them. Uh, First I tried mowing them down. Anybody who's ever had daffodils is probably laughing at me right now, and I don't blame them. As you can imagine, that did absolutely nothing. They popped right back the next year. So last year, I tilled that whole area with my rototiller, dug up the bulbs, got on my hands and knees, sifted through the dirt with my fingers, and pulled out every bulb I could find. I obviously didn't go deep enough, because this year they started popping up again. I pulled a bunch of them before I put the tarp down, and the tarp, with the heat, the extra heat heating the soil, caused them to pop right back up, what was left of them. um, I'll include some pictures of what we found so you can see what I'm talking about. Here you can see the strip of daffodils running across where the garden is now. And in this picture, you can see the bucket of bulbs in the garage still trying to bloom. Now that we've got the daffodil situation temporarily alleviated, we'll go ahead and get some compost and start amending these beds, get them ready for planting. Okay, we're here at the compost bin, and I'll do a whole video later on about this whole compost setup and how we go about things. But generally, what goes into it when we make our compost, it comes from kitchen scraps, yard waste, leaves that we rake up in the fall and collect. I usually bag them up and then run over them with the lawnmower to mulch them up. take the bagger, dump it into the compost bins, mix it with grass clippings, as I said, kitchen waste, any leftover vegetables, scraps, coffee filters, coffee grounds, any plants that we pull up that are no longer any good, whatever we think we can break down to make good compost. I would like to enrich it with animal fertilizer, but as of yet we don't have any animals on the homestead. They're coming though. Generally what I do is take about 3 shovel scoops, dump them into the screen, which is just 1/2-inch hardware cloth on a 2x4 frame, nothing fancy. Anybody can make one at home, they're very simple. Then I take this scraper, spread it over the screen to break it up a little bit. You can see that there are some larger pieces that haven't broken down yet, but if you work them around a little bit, they fall apart. What comes out is the fine compost. And since we're top dressing, I try to break it down into the smaller stuff. If I was forming beds or making new beds, there is nothing wrong with putting the bigger chunks in there. They will break down eventually, but I use the screen stuff to top dress because I'm going to seed directly into this in some areas. Thought I'd throw that little blooper in there to show you everything's not always perfect. We ain't got it. Now for the first amendment in the spring, I'll add about 1 inch to 2 inches on top of each bed. Okay, now that I got the magic string lines turned on, let's go ahead and build some beds. Okay, and just like that, we are done. We have 7 rows, 30 inches wide. Okay, in all honesty, it's several days later. When I was shooting the video, we ran into some bad weather. It got cold, then it rained for a while, then it got cold again, and now it's starting to warm up, so we're able to get it finished and get back at it. As I said, our beds are 30 inches wide. Now last year, our main garden here was 32 feet wide, or I'm sorry, 32 feet long and 22 feet wide. We had 5 raised beds, 32 feet long. They were 40 inches wide, each bed. We quickly realized that that wasn't going to work for a few reasons, which I'll show you. Okay, as I was saying, the 40-inch wide beds, 32 feet long, didn't work for us. A few of the problems we ran into: one, 40-inch wide beds ended up being too wide for us to work in comfortably. With a 30-inch wide bed, I can now straddle the bed comfortably, working on it, planting, harvesting, so forth. 40-inch wide was too much of a stretch for me. 32 feet long in one bed. If I was working in one row and wanted to get to the other side, they were too wide to step over comfortably, and 32 feet was too long to walk to one end and back up the other. It was taking forever to get anything done. So what we did this year is we made the beds 30 inches wide. We extended the whole garden 8 feet, so now that's 40 feet from one end to the other, but we put a walkway across the middle. So we have two 20-foot beds end to end in each row. We're going to have 7 rows of double beds, 7 rows wide, double beds in each row, so we'll have 14 20-foot beds. Okay, that's about it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. In our upcoming videos, we're going to be chopping and dropping this winter rye over here and pulling the tarp over to cover this side of the garden, get it ready for the summer. As I said, we're going to be doing a video on the greenhouse build. And this week we're going to start planting onions, leeks, celery, all our brassicas, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kohlrabi. So hope you come back and join us. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. All those things help promote the channel. Until next time, remember, when things get tough, keep on growing.